This was an insane weekend for Smash Ultimate as 3 different majors across the world took place. S Factor 11, Sumabato SP 49, and Seibugeki 17. We're going to be going over the brackets of all of them, and then you in the comments can let me know what to cover, except the obvious one, which I'm going to go over last, so let's start in Japan. As a warning, just to be clear, I'm going to be going over the results of all of these, so if you don't want to be spoiled for any of these 3 tournaments, you should turn off the video, but before you go, of course, subscribe, turn on notifications, ring the bell, I would appreciate it. So yeah, let's go. We had a brand new major winner in all 3 of these tournaments, the first one being Tamapi Daifuku's Bayonetta, who's of course been doing fantastically in Japan recently, clearly has a top 10 season, but he finally got a major win just in top 8, beating Shutone twice, and Fui, which is like the 3rd most known Yoshi in Japan, maybe the 2nd, I don't know if Ron or Fui is more known at this point, but obviously both under the, view of Yoshidora, but Fui's been putting in mad work recently, of course, got 3rd, ended up beating TG, and of course these players beat a bunch of other people in top 8. Of course, you got Shutone in top 2 going mostly Olimar, actually just Aegis versus Tamapi it looks like, but beating Gachipi, Huto, and Fui just with Olimar, and then losing twice to Tamapi. We had Huto, who of course is the 2nd best, I would say, Wario in the world, the number 1 in Japan, getting all the way to 4th before running into a hard matchup, because I know that all the Warios struggle with Shutone and Debuzz and stuff like that, so that makes sense, beating Motsunabe and Huto. Also, shoutouts to Motsunabe, going Mii Brawler. I'm a fan of the Mii Brawler, even if he's using Heli Kick, which is crazy. But yeah, you had Fui do really well. Shutone ended up getting 2nd. And to round out the top 8, we had Gachipi's Lucario, so we have a Lucario in top 8 of a major, Huto, Toriguri, Motsunabe, and Tamego's Rob. I don't remember what Tamego stands for, but let's continue with the top 64 of the bracket. Whoops. Just to be a little more clear on who everyone beat, TG beat SSSR, one of Japan's best Robs, Uame, the 2nd best Olimar in the country, and Tamego's Rob. We have Fui beating Harasen's Ice Climbers here 3-0, as well as beating Yamanaction, which is hard, as well as beating Rimu, the 2nd best Min in Japan overall. Shutone beat Motsunabe's Falcon Mii Brawler, as well as Leaf's, I was going to say Robin, but there's a Cloud there, so I guess Leaf went Cloud, and then Natsu as well. Huto lost to Leaf in the round of, what is this, 9-17-33, so for 33rd place, so Huto went on quite the loser's run, beating Ryuk's Rob, Natsu's Pokemon Trainer, Reno or Reno, I forget which one it is, Byleth, Uame's Olimar, and then Gorioka's Joker in a 3-1 set. Tamego ended up beating Ike's Peach here. Gachipi won a couple of sets, beating Harasen's Ice Climbers, Leaf's Robin, and SSSR's Rob, which is very impressive. Motsunabe got to all the way to winner's quarters. He ended up beating Kept to make it into the top 8 after losing to Shutone, but he did beat Gachipi's Lucario and Teshi's Samus. Teshi, of course, the 2nd best Samus. I made a video on them recently. So this is honestly a crazy bracket. A lot of insane upsets, sorry. And of course, the reason that it seems like, oh, there's like not too many people here. There's a lot of people. Well, first off, Hurt was here, and Hurt just didn't do well. Hurt ended up losing to Teru 2-1. I don't know who Teru plays, so I'm not 100% sure. And then in the top 64, Hurt lost to the DK that I tried to pronounce earlier, 2-1. Also, how did this person beat Min? That's insane. So yeah, Hurt had a not great weekend. I still think he's definitely like top 3 or 4 in the world for this rankings, because again, this was the last weekend for all the different rankings. Also, there's a couple of other top players that got upset pretty early. We had Paseriman here, who of course was the 2nd Fox before Kaninabe showed up on the scene. We have Ken here doing rather relatively poorly. I think that's it for the main ones. Shoutouts to Yuza's Pikachu for making it into, I think this is 9th, 13th, 17th, 25th, 33rd. We got more Pikachus, but again, we're going to talk about Pikachu more later. But yeah, let's jump over to the 2nd Japanese event of the weekend. This one happened today. I think on the 16th, whereas we're going to be going over Sumabato SP 49, which happened on Saturday. Again, we are going over a new major winner, and that is Doramigi, who I feel like has done very well at a bunch of majors, clearly has top 8'd multiple times, but just actually finally got the W here, beating Daru twice in winners and grand finals, beating Ron's Yoshi. So again, we have another Yoshi in top 8. There's a reason why Japan thinks this character is like top 10 or like top 7, because all the Yoshis do well. Yoshidora is also here. There were 2 Yoshis in a top 8 for the first time time, potentially ever. I know Ron almost got top 8 at a Battle of BC, which would have been the other time. Yeah, Daru continuing his Japanese consistency at all these majors, getting second. We have Ron's Yoshi's getting third. We have level 1, the Toon Link Extraordinaire, getting fourth. Shida Yuki and Yamadi getting fifth. Yamadi, of course, had a bunch of crazy upsets. This was a hell of a run by Yamadi, and Shida Yuki, we just kind of expect Shida Yuki to do well. Somehow, I still don't know how an Inkling does super well in matchups that you can't up throw up air. I don't understand. And then Yoshidora and Suna getting 7th place. So again, quite the stack thing. Let's go over the rest of the bracket though, so we can see what happened, because again, there's one notable name missing of someone that was there, and that is, where is he? I can't see it. Mia lost in pools to a Falco player that I forget their name at the moment. I'm actually going to go back and check that because they deserve to be shouted out. The person's name is, it's either Kashiya or Kashia. It's hard to tell. This player apparently has also beat Akola. Apparently this is one of the only people that has a winning record on both Mia and Akola, and they're both a 1-0 on both of them, so which is kind of insane. So they knocked Mia into loser's bracket, and Mia went on quite the run, as we can see, beating many people on the way here, but then ended up losing to Snow's, Aegis, and Mario, only actually winning the games with Mario in a supposed impossible matchup by all the Mario players. And I know this is probably the first time that a top Game & Watch has lost to a top Mario, and I'm aware of this, but I don't know, it seems like it makes sense to me. It always made sense as not that bad of a matchup. I remember arguing with Dark Wizzy a lot about that, but let's go over the rest of the bracket. So we have Yamadi beating Snow, which is impressive because Snow is of course one of like the most consistent up and coming players recently. So that was to make top 8 after, where were they in winners? Oh, Yamadi beat Kome and Yoshidora before losing to Shida Yuki. So those are a lot of upsets, and then ended up beating Snow to make top 8, and then won against Tsuna in top 8, I'm pretty sure it was. We have Daru beating Karaage and Kaninabe. That's actually a pretty good bracket for a Luigi in my opinion, as well as beating Akion's Link. Goramigi, of course, didn't have a super easy run because there are no easy runs in Japan. He beat Uraomote, as well as Kuropanzu, as well as, I think that's Daki Steve? Daki is the Steve that beats Snow, so, you know, it's pretty important to understand how the context of brackets, and again, this is like a pretty decent matchup for Min Min, so that makes sense. Ron beat level 1, as well as beating Kashia, the Falco that beat Mia, who also beat, I believe this is Hedo? Nope, I don't know how I would pronounce that in Japan, or in Japanese, so I'm going to say Rearlet. So that's an impressive run for himself, and Ron, of course, beat Darikusu, as well. Level 1 beating SSSR. Actually, SSSR went to both tournaments. That is a grinder. Oh my god. And then beat Wine's Zelda. Wine beating Eduon. I don't know who they play. So Wine making it pretty far as well. You had Snow miss out on the top 8. You had Kaninabe miss out on the top 8. You had Karaage miss out on the top 8. You had Yoshidora barely making it into top 8. You had Mia missing the top 8. So again, an insane bracket overall. We had Darikusu ended up getting 13th, so he's been doing really well recently. We had a Piranha Plant at 13th. Piranha Plant beat Kaninabe. Aww. Who is this? Asu? Never heard of them. Welcome to Japan. You don't hear people, and then they just win. Jogibo was also here, apparently, losing to Rapi. Tsuna went on a hell of a loser. Oh, Tsuna was literally in losers from pools and made it all the way to top 8. That is a hell of a run. Shout outs to Tsuna, as well as beating 33 Pedenbox. That's very impressive. Again, beating the Falco that beat Mia. Daki's DDD also doing pretty well. This is 9th, 13th, 17th, 25th for a DDD. This is a weird tournament in terms of character showings. But hey, you know, it's Japan, so welcome to Japan. So yeah, crazy bracket here. Again, let me know who you want to see from this. I will be going over at least like the winners probably from each tournament, just because. And now we can talk about the one that most people of my audience are paying attention to, S Factor 11, formerly known as Smash Factor 11. So of course, big news in the Pikachu industry, right? We had Shiny Mark win a Super Major. This is actually the first Pikachu winning a Super Major, because the majors that I have won, one of them was downgraded from Super Major to Major because Stroder like missed his flight or something and DQ'd. So it like went below the point threshold essentially. So I've only won 3 majors, where Shiny Mark is the first Pikachu to win a Super Major. So congratulations to him. I was watching some of the sets on and off. He's just so good, and his bracket was insane. I'm going to like change how I did this because I want to just truly highlight how messed up Shiny Mark's bracket was. So of course, I'm actually going to start with top 64. So I think he didn't really have too much trouble before in his pool, but I'm pretty sure he still had like a couple of rough matchups, or like weird slow matchups. He had to play Forzardon's Shulk, who, you know, a bit of a campy matchup. He had to play Rox's Sheik, who again, a bit of a campy matchup because you can't really just run at Sheik the whole time. Then he had to fight Sonics in the round of 16, and he beat Sonic's 3-2 with apparently a reverse 3-0, which is insane, but again, it makes sense. They play all the time in Coinbox, and Shiny Mark, of course, amazing. Pikachu wins that matchup. And of course, the most impressive win of the entire run, clearly, is Shiny Mark over Meister. And if you saw that game 5, it was gross. It was destructive. Shiny Mark just so good at changing his passive and his aggressive play in a way that is just masterful. And that was to make top 8. This is the second offline loss that Meister has ever had to a Pikachu. The first one being at the pre-local that Shiny Mark also won, beating Leo twice and Meister and Chag and Cosmos. So if that was like included for rankings, like he just got mad wins. He got mad wins anyway. But yeah, then he goes into top 8, fights Manny Steve, because Manny, like the other bracket run, like the bracket run of his life, beating, I think it was Mutace and Leo and Skyjay and a Sonic player that I think got the tweak bracket, which I could be wrong about that. Maybe there were upsets. If so, I apologize. But yeah, Manny ended up getting there. 3-0. Shiny Mark is ridiculously good versus Steve. It is crazy. Going into winners finals where he had to play against Ness, which to me, I would be so mad. But of course, Shiny Mark, very, very good at that matchup. Again, we always talk about the theory of this matchup, and it's like, yeah, if you fight, it's in Ness's favor. But if you just play annoying and evasive the whole time, it really is hard for Ness to get in. Therefore, you can just keep hitting him away, and then eventually you will out-reward him. And that's how Shiny Mark plays every matchup. So he ends up winning that 3-1. Again, a couple of close games, but fairly dominant in terms of the momentum the whole time. Sonics, of course, after losing to Shiny Mark, went on a crazy losers run, beating many people, got into top 8, beats Cosmos, beats Manny, beats Shattuck. This was a crazy set, by the way. Beats Gact 3-0 very dominantly, and then sits in grand finals again. The coin box duo, the third of the coin box trio being here in Spargo, who ended up losing to Shattuck game 5, and probably the set of the tournament, low-key. I've heard this one's also very good, but I went to sleep by the time this happened. I think I saw him win winners finals, and I saw Sonics beat Shattuck, and I was like, I'm going to bed. Shiny Mark's probably gonna win. And then Sonics won 3-1 in set 1, and then grand finals reset. Shiny Mark wins 3-2 to be the Smash Factor 11 champion. Of course, I will be going over a couple of his sets. I can't go over a ton of them, and also I don't want my video to be 3 hours long if I analyze a bunch of timeouts, which is a lot of what happened, because Shiny Mark knows, hey, you gotta play to your win con. And Pikachu, this is kind of one of the things that I always was like, yeah, Sonic is overrated. It's just that Sonic players are the only people to play to their actual win con, which is timeouts. And then Shiny Mark came along, and he plays to the timeout factor, and Pikachu's very good at it and very hard to hit. So it makes perfect sense, which is one of the reasons why, now that I consider Sonic really good, I also consider Pikachu busted, and Shiny Mark is the person to prove that right now, for sure. Finish over going the runs. We had Gact have an amazing run. He beat many people in the top 64. He had to beat Apollo Kage, he had to beat Capitancito, who upset Gluttony, and then he beat Cosmos. He beat Cosmos 3-0 in a bad matchup. That's super impressive. And then he, of course, beat Shattuck in the top 8. We had Shattuck make top 8. Honestly, had a really scary set with Mo, this Greninja player from, I think, Peru. Very good player, very good online grinder, which was very impressive to me. That set I watched, it was honestly insane. Shattuck 3-1ing Lima, even though this is apparently a demon for Shattuck, and then 3-0ing dominantly against Chag. Beastly, my poor guy, lost game 5 to Sonics without his controller, so he had to play someone else's, and then lost game 5 to whoever he lost to in losers bracket, because I saw this the other day. Where is it? I lost game 5 to Strongholds Mario. So again, Beastly, if he can clutch out these game 5s, he's suddenly going to be like a top 30 player for sure. Of course, the upset of the tournament, we had Cosmos beating Spargo. Cosmos getting top 8, by the way. Super congrats to him. I know he's been super grinding. He gets memed on. He gets a lot of shit for just not being a super top player, because it's really hard to be a super top player. And he finally got top 8. Deserved pop-offs. He ended up, he beat Spargo, he beat Big Boss in a crazy game 5 set, and then he ended up beating Big D in a game 5 set to make that top 8, which was honestly insane. Big D getting over Ice Climber's worst matchup in Hero here, which was insane to me. You had Zomba, I think that's his 9th, 13th, gets 17th, losing to Leo, and Big D here. We had Sonics again once he lost to Shiny Mark go on the run. He beat Big Boss, Gilhu, who beat Andres FN, as well as Chag, and then everyone he beat in top 8. Big D almost made that top 8. Nair had a really good run. Actually, this set was saved by the craziest thing. Nana got snoozed off of the ledge, and then Big D realized hey, if I don't have her, I'm gonna lose. So he goes all the way down there. And then Nana like breaks out of the snooze in bubble, double jumps up B's, and then Popo was able to get down there and up B to save her. It was insane. Ashimo was here. He did fairly well. He got 13th, losing to Spargo in losers, and I forget who he lost to in winners. Oh, he lost to Gilhu in winners. I remember seeing that. I thought that was losers for some reason. Yeah, you had like Waka do pretty well here, losing game 5 to Chag. Chag getting 9th. He hasn't been able to travel a ton, at least to the US, so a lot of people I feel like sleep on Chag, but he's a very, very good and talented player. So he ended up getting 9th, losing to Sonics and Shattuck, which are like two crazy good and consistent players right now. So yeah, all 3 tournaments were insane, and again, as I mentioned, Manny beating SkyJ, beating Mutace before this, beating Alex Dis C, and MKLeo to make top 8 winners, where then he had to run into like 2 of the best people against Steve in the world. Probably, like, in my opinion, it's literally those 2 are probably the top 2 in the world against Steve, maybe also Spargo, but like, rough pulls for the people in top 8, but hey, that's what you get when you upset 3 top players. So yeah, I hope that makes sense for everyone. Again, I will be going over a bunch of sets from this weekend. That's what I'm going to be doing on stream today, so you can come to my stream at like 6 p.m. Eastern, twitch.tv/ESAM. I should also be live here as well on YouTube. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. As always, social media, Stride, and partner stuff is down below, and I will see you all next time with the video analyses. Peace.